Oh, this is going to take forever. I'm just out of the way for a second. If anybody comes in, hold on, hold on. I'm getting there. Phone had a puppy hair on it. Well, hey, Jessica. I'm trying to get my... There it is. Trying to get my YouTube up on my other browser. It just caused a little book avalanche. What they call it, book avalanche, in my bookstore. Let me get my chat screen loaded. Book avalanche. What they call it, book avalanche. Sorry. Thought I had it muted. I guess I didn't. Can you hear me okay? No echoes. I know, me too. I'm constantly vacuuming and sweeping. So, the YouTube appreciation, personality appreciation of this week. Let me get her in here. I always do this at the beginning of my stream because I really like sharing my favorite YouTubers with people. Get her. Really. My little notepad thingy on my phone. It's being a little pain. Okay, there we go. She's a newer YouTuber that I just got to know, but I really like her personality. She does makeup reviews. Oh, you're okay. She does makeup reviews, and she's really nice. And I like her soft-spoken personality. So this is One Busy Mama. I did it again. I have the link too close. I hope she gets to see this. And what I do is when I'm done, I take and post their channels on my community page. Let me get this copied and pasted. I'll put this in here a couple times as people come in. There we go. That's better. She's sweet. She's very sweet. I really like her. She comes in my comment sections a lot. YouTube used to have the feature that you could right click on a person in a stream and go find them. And they took that option away. I hardly ever use mine because I feel like, I don't know, I'm just too busy. Like, I only use it for this purpose because I just like it. I'm trying to figure out a way to use it because I really don't have nothing to post on it. But you can right click on someone when they're in the comment section, but it's hard to do it when they're not. And I really appreciate my commenters because I think your text people are just as important, if not more, than people who, you know, when they come into your live streams and stuff like that, because sometimes people come into live streams and they don't comment because they're in your live stream commenting. You know what I mean? They don't think to come back. But I like everybody taking the time to text because I have arthritis and I know what it's like to text away. This is the box. I was talking about this last week and I don't remember who was all in here, but this is the box. I finally got it out. I did cause a little book of lunch with it. I have no clue because we talk about ephemera with crafting. Someone gave this to me. I did not pay for this. And it's loaded with really cool ephemera. And there's a company in here. I have no clue who this company is, but this is all the stuff. I have a whole bunch of these. It's called the Talon Zipper Design number 1009. It was a company, and I did try to look up information on it, and it's different patterns, and it tells you the materials you need, the cutting directions, the general directions. And it was zipper. I can't remember if it was Talon 9 something, but there was a guy when I first opened my bookstore. The reason was because these are in really good condition too. I was trying to save as many books as I could from the landfill. That was the whole purpose of it. It was never about money or anything like that. It was just to try to find books homes. So what ended up happening was, because a friend of mine was moving, she had a garbage bag of books, and I'm like, what are you doing? I said, that'll break, and I have a tote. This is how it all started. And she said, no, I was going to throw them away. I go, why would you throw away perfectly good books? So they kind of sat in my basement for a year. So that's what actually is the story of how my bookstore got started, because I always wanted, from the time I was in high school, I always wanted a new bookstore with my little storefront. And I thought it'd be cool to do like a story time for parents to give them a break, or single parents to give them a break for like an hour or two with their kids so they go grocery shopping or whatnot, and have like a helper. Like, you know how like when you were in school, I don't know, when I was in school, we used to have like little mats we sat on for story time with the teacher. So I thought something like that would be cute to kind of give parents a break, especially ones who didn't have that kind of, help. Well, by the time I got out of high school, all the storybooks were shutting down because you had these, corporations coming in that were selling more, and, books just, you couldn't make a living just on books. Like, Walmart has books, food, clothes. That's the kind of stores that's out there now. It's hard to just have one item to sell and make a decent living. So I opened it up at my house so I didn't have to pay, rent, leasing, or none of that. And I worked a regular job to build it up. Well, what had happened was, I thought if she was throwing books away, who else is? So I ran an ad, did throw books away, contact me. Well, I met this guy who basically filled my bookstore because he was taking care of a museum in another state, and they did fundraisers, and he would have a bunch of books left over because that was one of the things they had on their table was a fundraiser, and what didn't sell, he would give to me. And then of course I would go out and buy and pick if, I would run low on kids section mainly. My kids section was always selling out. So I would literally have to go out and buy books for that, to fill it up. But my kids section, I kept my cheapest too, because I realized baby board books they cost so much money brand new. And my kids section was always like a quarter, 75 cents, $1. Like it was almost like flea market type. So that's why I knew I couldn't do it like a rentable place, because I would never make the money back. So the guy that was doing this, to make a long story short, people started dumping off other things. They started dropping off CDs, VHSs, music CDs. And I'm like, no, I'm not turning into a multi-store. I just wanted books. So this is one of the things, like he called me over and I would do a pickup. Of course, I'd count the gas mileage and stuff, when I did my taxes. But there was a woman who made these books. I don't think I have one down here. But she took basically the same type of paper in a the old what the heck are they called? The big scrapbooks. It kind of feels like construction paper. She had a bunch of books that she covered the outside with wallpaper. And she bent like those type of pages. And then inside of them, she was taking magazines and stapling them and all that stuff. Hey, Loopy. And so this same woman, I guess she did this for years. I don't know if she was just a crafter or if she worked at a library, but she took like magazines like you would not believe and turned them into scrapbooks. So he called me over one time to do a pickup because I would go over once a year. And he handed me this box, and this was part of her stuff. And I did sell one of those books at one of my live sales for like $2.50. Some lady bought it because she had, it was like back in the 70s. She had already decoupaged napkins in them. So that stuff has been going on for a long time. You know, one thing I've learned as a crafter, um, a lot of people, you know, like if you see something, you can give credit to that person. But I don't think, you know, there's a lot of times that things will come to a crafter's mind. You think it's the first, you're the first person that thinks of it, but you're really not. and and it's sad because there's people on here I noticed in the crafting community, they get witchy about stuff like that. Well, I did it first, but who cares? You know what I mean? Life's too short to care about stuff like that. Unless it's your own artistic drawing on a piece of something. You know, I usually don't watch how-to videos. I like to think everything's my idea because it actually comes to me without watching other people's stuff. But, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of the stuff we think we are doing for the first time's already been done. So to me, I don't pay attention to the cranky people. I do my own thing, and if it happens to be what somebody else has done, well, then so be it. You know what I mean? So I don't pay attention. But anyways, so sometimes you get ephemera, and it's like, so I ended up with this box. And you know, like I am terrible about putting ephemera packs together. I have no clue what to include in them. I don't know how to do all that kind of stuff. But I do come across items every once in a while, you know, but I want to make it worth a person's while if I would have a sale to put a pack together, because I don't want to say, hey, oh, I have this one paper and I'm going to sell it for $5. I don't want to do that. I like when I do my live sales, I like selling piles of things to make it worth a person's while, because, you know, this to me is a hobby. So a lot of this stuff that I do at the value that you would find it like a yard sale, you know. So there's some people on here that do it for a living. There's some people that are like me that just does this for a hobby, because what I don't sell on here goes into a yard sale anyways. But I have no clue. It's called Talon. I think I Googled all this once, but I couldn't find any information about this company. But these are all patterns. Look how cute these are. And when he gave this to me, I didn't know what to do with them. And I know a lot of people use like pattern paper and stuff like that when they do, you know, junk journaling. I've never used pattern paper for anything, and probably a lot of people might want to even make the patterns. And I have no clue. But this is like real kind of slim paper. It says here, it was prepared by the Talon Educational Service. It was 420 Lexington Avenue, New York. And the copyright on here says 1951. So that's what I had looked up, I think. And I couldn't find out very much information about this company when I Googled it. I didn't really dig real deep. I think I just gave it a glimpse. I'll have to look it up again. But this whole box is filled. Look at all these goodies. My mother used to have a sewing machine, and we had home ec. Look how cute that is. A hot water, the hot water bottle cozy. Look how cute that is. But like, he gives me this stuff that I don't know what to do with it, because I'm never going to use it. So sometimes a lot of people will have it. I think the only time I ever used pattern paper is when I wrapped a present with it. I've seen somebody else do that too, and I thought it was funny. But I don't have a sewing machine. My mother did. I played with one when I was younger. but I just never really got into sewing. I'm more of a paper person. This here is a scarf and a handbag set. But like all these are in really, really cool condition. And I know that there's some people that make sewing journals on here. These are so cool. And it's like a mint green color paper. I'd like to make some ephemera packs at some point to sell in my live sales to include stuff like this. But I want it, like I said, I want to make it a pack. And I have dyed paper. Yeah, it's like this whole box is filled. Look how cool this is. He's got, it says Pellin Primer of Smart Sewing. And there's this little booklet. I made a journal that sold once. It was more like a crafting style book with these type of girls in it. I cut pictures out of another book and it turned out really cute. And I sold it one of my sales, but because I thought the girls were cute. They look like they have an attitude, like a sassy attitude. Here's 20 novel ideas with flowers. Look how cute this is. A flower firecracker, a strawberry basket. Now, I did use some pictures out of something similar. This picture here and this picture here, I believe I used in it, but not from this book. I need to learn how to make ephemera packs. Look how cute that is. Train load of flowers. That's cute. Mistletoe kissing ball. Look at the rusted. That's so funny. Rusted staples. Bread basket and a flower pineapple. Holiday ornament. Heart of flowers. That would be cute for Valentine's Day. But this box is filled with all this kind of stuff. And I believe it was from the same woman because she always collected magazines. So you'll see like magazine clippings. And on some of the books, she wrote her name. She put the name and the date. Unbelievable how cool these are. I like looking at past stuff. Here's a Perky Poppy. This is like a fold out. I'll learn how to do ephemera packs at some point. Then here's a style letter. Make ready for Christmas. This has got a, oh, look how cute this is. Lots of patterns. This is collars and cuffs. How cool is that? Love that picture. And this is a sewing bag. That's pretty. And my grandmother, she used to do tatting. She used to make doilies and stuff. I wish she would have taught us this stuff, but she never did. She played piano too. She was very into a lot of things. And I did Girl Scouts and I had to earn some badges. So I did learn how to embroidery. I learned how to crochet. I have some of her ability. My sister learned to knit. That's something I could never get into. But here's a, I think the only thing I did was a pillow. We had to do a pillow when we were in middle school. And I made a pillow. We bought the stuffing and the material, and me and my mom made it on our sewing machine. But I just didn't get into sewing. Now, my sister, she loved to create Barbie clothes. I told her she should have stuck with it. She'd have been popular by now. But, you know, life takes you away. But look at these pictures in this book. Tailored. These are really cool. It's falling apart, but it's a Singer sewing machine book. It's tonight instead of crafting. I'm just going through books. This is Wiz Pinking shears. How do you do it with shears? And here's all about the rippled edges. I have a pair of scissors like this upstairs where you can make the stamp type look. But whoever this woman was, she kept everything. Look at that freaking cute giraffe. That's so adorable. And it shows you the different scissors in that book by Wiss. Some of this stuff, though, like I've seen people buy storage lockers. Some of this stuff sells for a lot of money. This here is Tupperware Ideas Do It Yourself. And when you open it up, it's got a doily party apron. These are so cute. All right, Jessica. I'm just nibbing through stuff. Tupperware doily dolls. I remember my mom having one of these type of dolls, kind of, that sat on a toilet paper roll. It was crocheted, though. These are cute. And then here is a crinkle something craft. The gift that curls. The gift tie that curls. These are cute. They're for the ever popular beanie. I love this box. It's like, it really is a trip down memory lane. Fun with foam. It says advantages of a foam egg carton and meat trays. And it's got all kinds of like really cool ideas that you can do with M&S. Oh, that Tweety's so cute. And some holiday decorations. Then we have the Kleenex sewing projects to make, like, I guess, tissue holders. And this is filled with these cute little pages. Kleenex tissue box cover. There's the Duchess. You have Janie. It's all these different Kleenex box covers. This is like so cute. The Terry. Here's Rick Rack. Oh my goodness, the tissue box with Rick Rack. That is too funny. Hey, Angela. Thank you. Madame Dewberry. I'm just looking through these pages and being like, oh, ah. The lady who saved these was awesome, though, to have this type of a collection. Here's the Scarlet. And then here's a business. Look at that aged envelope. It's probably sealed shut. It is. I can't believe how envelopes stick together. This was International Cellu Cotton Products Company in Michigan Avenue. Very interesting. More tissue boxes. And it has the different, here's the order form type thing. I've never seen anything like these. And it's got all the patterns on how to make these tissue boxes. Is that like not cool? Sometimes I look up stuff on eBay to see what they have, but eBay is pricey. Their stuff's expensive. This whole thing, pocket pack, there's a lot. There's a Harlequin, and it's in this little like type of folder thing. Tissue Kleenex sewing products. Drawings by Florence Valentine, Barry Brooks Picken. Copyright 1950. So these are from the 50s. And then there's more of those patterns. Here is the Change Purse Glove, the Commuter's Book Bag, the Notebook Caddy, the Dog and Fish Pillow. It's like this box is loaded. The Duck and Rooster Pillows, the Melon Bag, the Fringed Hood, the Cat Whiskers Bag, the what? The cloche. What the heck is a cloche? CLOCHE slip cover hat. Never heard of it. Then we have the utility bag, the beach roll, and the college catch-all. Seriously, all these. How cute is that? Really nice ephemera box. What I'll do with it, I don't have a clue. Cloche? Is that what you mean? Is that what it is? No! Help! The cloche. Then there's this here is zippers, and it's all about look how cute that is. A dress on a hanger with words. Oh, is that not the cutest? All about zippers. Shirt applications. Neckline. As I said, it's a box full of ephemera for sure. But I was shocked because it's like they wanted to preserve it, and they knew that I was a preserver because of my bookstore, so they made sure it come into my hands, and it was like, oh my goodness, I don't know what to do with all this. So my bookstore became a dump. So I was trying to tell people. And this one girl literally was moving, especially in the summertime when they had yard sales. There was a young girl that came in and literally from like above my waist and down, and I'm 5'8". She had it filled, packed with music CDs, and she gave me the whole stand. She says, I don't want to take this with me. She says, because I'm moving, because you know how people get frustrated when you're in the middle of a move, trying to move. She just handed it all to me. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with all this? So I ended up getting all this stuff, that kind of stuff free. But this was just given to me. Look at these. These pictures are huge. Like this is applying the dress zipper. This is like a wall hanging. You have a machine-based packet seam opener. I don't even know if I can show you this under the camera. And there's 5 steps. This would be really cute if a person did like, because I know they still have people who will, you know, do zippers and homemade stuff. This would be cute to hang on their wall. If they have like a sewing place. I will never use this stuff because I don't sew. Ooh. But stuff like this would be cute for somebody that does homemade stuff still. And there's a few of them in here. This was all like, it looked like an educational type class. I was going through some of the stuff that come in my bookstore. I got so much stuff, Mel. It's beyond books. Let's just say that. And here's sewing ideas. One of these days, like I said, I will put together an ephemera pack. I had some packs before of stuff, but I need to like make up ephemera packs and just get rid of this stuff to somebody that will appreciate it, you know, or use it in a sewing. Look how cute that is. This is Williamsport, PA, 1956. Yeah, like somebody that I know that will appreciate this. Country Gentlewoman Service Department features blouses. I'm terrible with stuff like that. I can go into a room and coordinate. Like my talents go as far as when I move into a house, like I remember when my parents were younger, they would have the kitchen carpet would be like a green when they first moved into our first house. And the living room would be a green shag. They would be green carpets all through the house, but different types of green and some different shades, but always the same thing. And I told my mom and dad, even from a young age, I would like to have every single room look different in my house. I don't want everything to match. I want a different, like, surprise. I'm genie bottle type of person. If you walk into my bedroom, I want you to see a different color coordination than what you see in my living room. I like have a different room, every room different. We'll just say that. So that's how I coordinate. So it's like, but putting paper packs together, I never know what to mix. Like I always overthink it. I'll sit and I'll be like, okay, should I add crochet with sewing or should crochet be separate? You know what I mean? Like I have no clue how to organize paper packs. I can do them by color, but by what the actual contents are, that's where I need practice. Like I know if I would do like, say, a mail pack, I would probably put in stamps, airmail envelopes, anything to do with postage. But when it comes to this kind of stuff, because I don't sew and I'm not really into all this stuff, I have no clue how to put a paper pack together. I think I had paper packs once. It was book pages mixed with, they were all random. And then it had like a work basket magazine thrown in, which really is totally off what the whole paper pack was about. Because it had like history pages. It had pages from a Nicholas Sparks book. It was like something current, something from the past, but then throwing that work basket in there just didn't look right. So I need to coordinate better, I should say. And then here's a face up to it. That's what's her face. I recognize her face. I can't think off the top of my head. Is that Barbara Hershey? I don't know. She looks familiar. And here's a whole bunch of facing washable garments, applying the facing, preparing the facing. These are about collars. Facings and collars. Whatever facings is, I have no idea. Collars, I do want to know what those are. And then there's more to buttons than meets the buttonhole. How did buttons begin? Now this looks like interesting reading. Tells you what buttons are made of. It's a cute little book. Look at the cute pictures of clothing. This is so cute. And I love how they do like a blush look. It's almost like a sprayed little blush on these outfits. This is, I don't know if this has a date in it or not. Looks like the cover page is missing. So cute to see. All these pages are adorable. Love this book. Your do's and don'ts. Very interesting. See what other goodies we have in here. Okay, there's these little magazines. I mean, she has this packed. This is Needle Crafters Digest. This one here says 1981, something about orders. And there's cute little digests in here. These are adorable. There's 1, 2, and then there's quilt and needlecraft collection. These are cute. They still have the outside pages. Great needlework, quilted needlework, patchwork quilt for creative women from the Saddle Valley Stitchery. More needle crafters. All those little magazines. This is what this little brown box was filled with. Awesome stuff. And then here's how to make a spectacle case with Wiss pinking shears. And then this is how to make a jeweled collar with Wiss pinking shears. This must be about the brand Wiss. And the fabric. Pattern diagram for jeweled collar. How cute is this? All kinds of, oh, here was the other thing. This was something else that I looked up too. They have, she's got all these packets in here in that baking type paper. It says student lesson number 1 in Singer sewing skills. Then there's student lesson number 2, student lesson number 3, 4, 5, and 6. Look how cute this is. I don't know if any of you ladies know what this stuff is. Zoom out a little. I'd have to lift the arm up. Hold on. I just got to be careful because the arm's attached to my table. My cord only goes so far. That's why I can't put my Big Shot underneath. Because it's not high enough. And in lesson number 1, it comes with all this green looking fabric. And then there's some reds and some oranges. Let's see what it says. There's patterns in here. For perfect stitching, always use Singer. 16 stitches to 1 inch. 20 to 22 stitches to 1 inch. This must be the first lesson plan. 8 or 10 stitches to 1 inch. And this was student lesson number 1 in Singer sewing skills. So was there classes for Singer? I don't know. I wasn't here in the 50s. I was born in the 60s. But there's lesson 1. Lesson 2's just got some fabric in it and some ripple pieces. And then lesson 3 it looks, they have the pieces of fabric still in here. Is that like not cool? And there's some rickrack. I recognize the rickrack. And there's strips of these pink pieces with lace. It's like all this material. Angela! I'm sitting here going through the mystery box that came upon my bookstore. It's like a bunch of sewing stuff this guy gave me. What was funny is usually he took me to the museum, but this time he was like, this lady has all this stuff in this garage. Hey, Jerry. So, I ended up with it all. Okay, that must have been what that noise was. And this looks like they were trying to sew. They still got the stuff here. Yeah, this looks like a little bit of embroidery on this. They have the word Singer. whoever did it. This is so cute to see somebody's first classwork. And then here's more. Is that like not cool? I don't know a sewing machine, but I got a lot of sewing stuff over here. I don't know how you would incorporate like some of this stuff into a journal though. I'm so about paper that I don't know. And here's this is a lesson for Singer people, I guess, for the Singer sewing machine. This was lesson number 5. So you get to see all this stuff with me for the first time because I'd never opened these bags. Oh, they were trying to install a zipper. Check it out. They have a zipper in the fabric. How cool is that? So that was lesson number 5. I hear you, Ian. I know. Some people will buy stuff. I'm like, how do they incorporate that? I don't know. I still feel like a newbie. And here is lesson number 6. I never know what I'm going to do when I come on here, but I brought this up last week. So I figured, because I couldn't get it because it would start a book-a-lanch, and it did because I had it buried. I had books piled up on top of the box. This here's cute. Look at that fabric. It's a that doesn't really look like a horse to me, but I guess that's what it's supposed to be, pulling a covered wagon. And then it's got this little lady figurine and a little guy figurine. Yes, look, okay, it's this side you want to see. Look how cute that fabric is. It's got little cactuses. So this was lesson number 6. This was the last lesson. I have no clue what the lesson plans were on this, but these are cute. So this is my little treasure box for the day. Then we have, outline of student lessons. Okay. The first practice is sewing machine facts. The second was preparation for stitching. The third was stitch length, pressure, and tension. The fourth practice was stitching for line. Then it says lesson 2, first practice is sewing for contour. The second was fashion details. The third was corded trimmings. Then in your lesson 3, they had 2 parts. Sewing machine attachments and second practice session. And then you had lesson 4, which is fashion stitches, cable and something stitches, Boucle, B-O-U-C-L-E, I mean, whatever that word is. Lesson 5 was the invisible placket. Second practice session. Then you had lesson 6. It was hem and hem finishes. I remember my mom hemming our pants when they were too long. Second place session. This is cool. This is really cool for me not to know anything about sewing. Very little. I'm learning. Then you have this cute little paper. So Singer sewing skills. That's a different. Almost feels like a paper bag. That's cool. Then there's this pamphlet, Sewing with Wash and Wear. This is like the never-ending box. You gotta love spell check. I always say by spell check, he's a proofreader. Gifts made for giving. You have a spool Santa. How cute is that? A Santa Claus made out of spools. Now we did do, I can't remember if it was Girl Scouts or church. we took, after the thread was used, we took the spools and we used glitter and made designs on them and then put yarn through the hole. And we made Christmas ornaments one year. I remember some things I did as a kid. This is a guest towel with thread. Thread flower trim scuffs. A Christmas tree with thread ornaments. This is so cool. Cool stuff. Next we have the fit is fundamental to fashion. This is the basic fitting shell pattern, Butterick 1000. Fit is fundamental to fashion. Decide on your figure type. And it's got these measurements. Half sizes, teenage sizes, junior misses, sub-teen sizes. Never heard of sub-teen. I've heard of kids and junior. And then you open it up, it's got all this good. Look at that. Look at that paper. Oh, is that grunge or what? That's definitely aged. This type of paper I worry about though, because I notice in crafting, not a lot of people use construction paper because I think it's too soft and it rips too easy. That's what that feels like. The next book we have is Conti Handicrafts. Raffia. Angela, they don't have plus sizes in that. Isn't that sad? And here's a whole bunch of, they didn't accommodate us big figured women. Everybody had to be skinny back then, or you were discluded, I guess. And then they have all these baskets that you could make. Oh, that reminds me. We had to do a weave. We did some kind of weave. We made a pot holder. And in shop class, I remember making a paper towel holder out of wood. We had to decoupage in shop. What else did we do? Hook rugs. Hook rugs was one of my favorite things to do as a kid. Loved doing hook rugs. I still have my hook. Hey, Viv. How are you doing? Oh, we have an issue about our next sale. Not between me and you, though. Something happened. Have you guys, have you, any of you ever seen this happen? Sam is supposed to be in the sale with us. And I went to contact her because she's never played with StreamYard. I want to show you what this looks like. I have never seen this before on Facebook, and I wondered if any of you had. This person is unavailable on Messenger, pops up at the bottom of her Messenger. So I called her and I got her voicemail and I left her a message because I know she's in a bad area. They got hit with snow. But why would that take away your page? And this is what I'm getting. And then somebody asked me if she blocked me. I said, no, she didn't block me. I said, we've been friends for a long time. I said, but I'm just wondering if they had, I mean, can a snowstorm take out your Facebook page? Because I get her Messenger with her voice when I called her cell phone, but then it goes directly to her voicemail and I left her a message. But when I try to set her a text message, it will not go through. But yeah, this is what I'm getting. This page isn't available right now. And the sad part is we were going to have a variety sale on the 9th. Texas Sparkle is going to come up. She's got jewelry. Ladies, she sells some good stuff. And she gives good prices too. And Samantha sells Scentsy. I kind of wanted to do a variety and not just journaling, you know, to get just a variety in a sale. And plus, Sam doesn't have a YouTube channel and she wants to start one because she wanted to further her Scentsy. And we were just talking in her private messages. She sent me a really cute example of a horse one she has. I can't wait to get the hold of that thing. And she said, this weekend I'm setting up my computer and we were going to practice on StreamYard because she's never done anything to do with YouTube. So I was going to teach her. And I get nothing. I can't get a hold of her. So she might not be available for the sale on the 9th. I mean, we'll still be okay, but I'm really worried about her. I left her, but she's my online adopted daughter. That's why I know she hasn't blocked me. We met through Pal Talk Chat and we became friends, and she's just awesome. She sent me the most beautiful thing that I have hanging on my wall, because with timing is everything when you get to be friends with people on here. And she is just amazing. I can't even read it because it'll make me cry. But she's the sweetest. And I don't know where she's at. It's killing me not knowing that she's not okay. I don't like not hearing from her, not knowing that, you know, things aren't okay. She's so adorable. She's from Alabama originally, but she's in Wisconsin, and she talks like a Southern belle. She's so cute when she talks. That's what I'm wondering, but I wonder why. Because the only thing she does is do her Scentsy sales. But what would that have to do with her phone being turned off? Like, I can't even send her a text message through her cell phone. It won't go through. So I don't know what's going on. I guess I'll have to wait. So here's garment construction. Here's another booklet. And then we have the mending of clothing. I have mended socks. My husband wears out the big toe in his socks. I said, what do you do? I said, do you stand around and rub your big toe back and forth? I constantly have to mend his socks. And then after a while, if it breaks back open, he just buys new ones. And here's handmade rugs. No, she doesn't live near me. I'm in West Virginia and she's in Wisconsin, and I don't have a clue how to get a hold of her. I don't know if her husband has a page or not, or her boyfriend. I don't know if they've even got married. Heck, I can't keep up with everybody. This is October of 1949. I mean, we don't talk like every day, but because I know she has a daughter. She's got 2 sons. I know both of her sons. Oh my God, they're so cute. And they're growing so fast. And I got to see a picture of her daughter on our Facebook. Because there was times, you know, you're apart. She wasn't online for a little while. But then we found each other again. And she goes, I want to call you. We talked on the phone for a long time here not too long ago. This is braiding and lacing with Doraflex. This is cute little ephemera page. Here's another pamphlet. Here's Woolworth. Oh my goodness. I remember Woolworth's holiday decorating ideas, safety tips. I remember my grandmother taking me to Woolworth's and we would be dancing down the aisles. Oh, my grandmother was hysterical. My dad's mom, she was funny. This is ideas, notions, counter styles, time-saving economic. Look at that girl. She is gorgeous on the front of that book. Beautiful dress. That's like a step back in time. So you have that. Here is Lace Craft by Lustro Wear. Look at all of this yumminess. Oh boy. I see doilies. I see tons of doilies. And then my mom, she had a tomato looking pincushion. I remember her having that in her sewing kit. These were the types of dolls almost, but they were crocheted and they sat on toilet paper. I remember her having one in the back of her toilet. Those little toilet girls. Make your toilet paper look fancy. That is a very cool book. And then here we have Kitchen Boutique. Oh my goodness. People had kitchen boutiques. Gifts made from Cool Whip containers. Oh my word. Look at that flower basket. Oh, this is adorable. Hanging flowers. Call them flowers or bells. These gaily painted charmers look lovely hanging inside a sun umbrella or over a party table. A doll carriage. Oh my God, Angela, you can't leave. Look at this doll carriage out of a Cool Whip container. These are so cute. Oh my, this is adorable. Crayons and soap. I would never look at Cool Whip containers the same. I've never seen anything like this. That is so cute. I never even heard of fussy cutting until I came to YouTube. We never called it fussy cutting. And here's another one, Lustra, where look at those laces on that lamp. Oh, Lord. Look at these. Talk about some fancy living. These dolls are absolutely beautiful. But that lamp, look at that lamp. Oh my. That is so awesome. That's awesome, Luffy. I wish I could go back in time and tell my grandmother, please teach me some of your stuff. Look at that lace, that vase lace. I'm just amazed. Now, I remember my grandmother had an outhouse. I don't think you can go back as far as that. My dad's mom had one. And I do remember she had a grapevine right below it. And what else? I remember her rotary phone. I remember her having a party line because I would go to use her phone to call my mom when I stayed with her. And I would hear her neighbor talking about her grocery list on the phone. And I would be like, oops, sorry. Party lines were funny. People always spying on each other. Look at that dog. Look at that poodle looking type dog. Oh, that's so funny. And she had my one grandmother had a player piano sitting in her living room. She used it to not only the keys were, chipped on it. We could play with it as kids, but she used it more as a knick-knack stand because she didn't have any other stands in her living room. And her couch was a Davenport. She never called it a couch. She was like, okay, you're spending the night, so we got to pull out the Davenport. And I remember her lifting the back, the bed and the couch. It was a couch that would spread out into a bed. And she always had newspapers in the corner because, I don't remember. I think she had an oil furnace, but I think at some point they used to have a wood burner. That's why she used to save papers. Hey, Allison. But these are the things I remember, like, talk about a flashback. And I have a hat when she passed away. I have one of her nightgowns and a hat that it's the black kind that you would wear during a funeral where the thing would come down over your face. And I can't remember if I donated that to, I don't know if I still have that or not. I have to look at my hoe chest. But some old things I donated to, we have a playhouse that likes to, like when my daughters went through homecomings and stuff like that, we would put the dresses out and when we would have yard sales and stuff, but if they didn't sell, we donated them to this playhouse and so that they could use them for their shows and stuff, which is really nice because we do have a park here where they do live plays still. So it's really cool in the summertime. I love the town that I live in now. Like I moved a town away from where I was born and raised because this town, even though it's just a town away, if you sign up when you move here, you sign up for the water department, you can, say if you want to be added to a list or not, but they have a automated call system that tells you everything that's going on in the town. Like I'll get a call in the summer and it'll be a recording. So-and-so park is having, the pool's going to stay open today for free the last 4 hours. And then after that, there's a movie in the park, like on Saturday. And then they'll ask the community, if you want to, you can bring a canned good and they donate it to the pantry, the where people need food. And I think that's really nice because my other town never did this. So I always know what's going on here, like without having to get the newspaper and stuff like that. It's nice to have that automated system because they tell you everything that's going on. Like when they had the memorial, they had the walls put up and stuff where you could go down and show respect to past veterans and stuff like that. All that's recorded and sent. Anytime they have Christmas in the park, they have a recorded message telling you the dates and all that kind of stuff. This is like an automated calendar of events. And it's really cool because my other town never did that. And I thought this is awesome. And then at any time you can opt out if you don't want the phone calls. But I think it's cool. Or if you have a water break and you have an a boil order, it comes through that same automated system. It'll say so-and-so road had a water break and you need to boil water till the next 24 hours or something like that. So it's really cool because you feel like you're part of the community here because of that automated system. And then where my aunt lived a couple towns away, it was nice because if the police knew that you lived, Allison, if the police knew that you lived by yourself, my aunt had Crohn's disease, they would literally call the house and check on her in the wintertime and stuff because it's like really common for people to slip on ice and things like that if they're living alone and nobody checking on them. So in her town, that's what they did. And I thought that was nice too, to check on the people that live alone. I thought that was really cool. I mean, my aunt has family. Of course, she called all of us and, could talk to family, but just nice to know that feature was there for people that didn't have anybody. That's what I call united. You know what I mean? Here's instruction for sweetheart bag. Where's Sweet at? Where's Diana? There's a sweetheart bag. I'm going through my little box of goodies. This was the summer of 1982. This is a newspaper called Popular Needlework. There's only one of these. Oops. Look at the cow. Oh my goodness, that's so cute. It's a patchwork cow's head picture. And then there's keepsake baskets. This is so neat. Like this woman had a box. She had this really cute box of things that she stored. And then I used to cut out poetry out of, I don't know. It was a random habit. I would cut poems out of newspapers that I liked, and then I would take and put them in between two pieces of packing tape, which is pretty much the same thing as laminating them. And My great aunt used to do the same thing, and I never knew that until her basement was cleaned out. And we found a box of her stuff, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is where I get it from. She used to cut them out too. It's funny what you do that another family member does and you don't even know it. And look at the pictures in this. Look at those kids. That's why she saved it. Helping Hands Children Quilt. It's got a little boy with a cat, and there's a girl, and then on the here's a. This is really cute. Little boy holding a tree, and then there's a little girl using a hoe like she's doing a garden. Singing Shuttles up in Grandma's room. Oh, I love this. Her hair was white and silky soft. Small curls escaped the comb and brush. So still it was, so restful in the evening's golden hush. I thank you, child. The gentle voice was almost like a prayer. It's good of you to spend your time with old folks who need care. And I've always loved older people, always. I don't mind. I said most honestly, I like to be up here with you. You're always so happy for any little thing I do. Oh God, who cares for all of us? We ask this day you bless the silver-haired Madonna in a checkered gingham dress. That is so cute. Ah, love it. I can't write this second Alice in my lap's full. Give me a second. I'm almost done with this box. And then the last thing is this. It's a, she punched holes in this little folder and put rings in it. And you have a poncho. Oh my goodness, I had a poncho as a kid. I even had one of those fuzzy muffs you had to put your hands in. To knit or crochet. All this cute stuff she saved in this little book. This woman had to have been something. And she made this into, look, a little sewing junk journal. She did it with rings. All different sizes. How cute. Here's gingham aprons. Cross stitch on gingham. This is adorable. Look at that. A pattern. Pretty pansies. That is so cool. That reminds me of phonics papers we had to do as kids that the teacher's helper would run off. Yeah, look, there's all the monogram embroidery. There's all your letters. This is awesome. She took books and put them in here. Time Saver Designs. And then here's a bird. The bird of paradise. I remember my mom mentioning that bird before. The name sounds familiar. I know. Look how cool this is. Holiday embroider. This is really beautiful. Coats and cars, and then here's orchid. Here's an orchid. Tote bags. More ponchos. This whole box was filled with just beautiful things. A poinsettia. Some people call it poinsettia. I was always told it was called a poinsettia. I don't know the correct one. Look how cute these are. It's just unreal. She was really loving her stuff. The pineapple pirouette. Mushrooms. They only knew how popular this stuff would be today. I see a lot of people collected mushrooms. Klansman hat and mittens. See, my thing is like I can crochet and I can see a pattern like laid out in words, but I don't know what the stitches are. I know what the shell stitch is, and I know how to do the single and the double, but I don't know the rest of the names. Because I remember even in embroidery, there was a knot. Oh my goodness, I hated to do this one knot. Because I'm a lefty anyways. It was a struggle learning from right-handed teachers. And we had to do this one knot, and I can't remember the name of it, but boy, I hated that thing. I had a heck of a time doing it. I'm more of a X stitcher, a straight, over the sides, but I've never really got into a lot of the fancy names that they have for the stitches. Just show it to me and I'll do it. But don't ask me the name. I couldn't tell you. This is really awesome how she has this little book put together. It looks like of her favorite things or maybe things that she tried to do. Back in the day when there was no social media and you had nothing better to do but sew. Because I know my grandmother, when they read her eulogy, it was amazing to listen to her eulogy because I remember this was my mom's mom. She was the one that liked to play the piano. She played the piano in church forever, for as long as I can remember, and sang in the choir. But my dad's mom, she didn't do any of that kind of stuff. She's the one with the player piano, but she was a lot of fun. But my mom's mom in her eulogy, it had every day. Her eulogy was every day what she did in a week back in the day because my mom was raised on a farm. And I remember her eulogy was getting up early in the mornings. She was up from sunrise. She would get up at dark and go to bed at sundown. And they were always up early. She would wash the clothes on Monday. No, she would make biscuits on Monday. They would do all the things they needed to do on the farm. And then Wednesdays was her washing day because they didn't have dryers. So they hung out the clothes to get the kids Sunday's best for church. Her eulogy was so amazing to sit and listen to because it's like a part of her life you didn't know. Like my dad's mom, there was an oil painter on her side. There was an artist. And I remember I was back in my grandmother's room. She had one room she hoarded. It was like filled with all kinds of stuff. And I found this picture that was a portrait painted of a person. Had no idea at the time that it was her as a young girl. I found this out later. So when I saw it, I was like, who is this? And my dad goes, well, that's my mom. And I'm like, well, she doesn't have white hair. My dad laughed at me because as long as I knew my grandmother, she had white hair. She had gray hair. I never saw her hair color. I never saw any younger pictures of her or anything because my grandfather passed away when I was only 2, so I don't remember him. And she didn't have like a bunch of pictures. She had some old ones up that were military. I know we had a lot of military people in our family, but I never really thought to look at a young age to find out this stuff. So I never saw her with colored hair. So I had to sit and stare at it. It was like, oh my gosh, this is my grandma. Now I have a picture of her hanging on my wall. Oh, that is so cute, Allison. That picture's so cute. Do you care if I show it? Let me know and I'll put it under cam. That is adorable. I love their hats. But I'll ask first because I don't want to stick it under my camera if you don't want it to show. But I do have a couple pictures I want to run off and share in my live sales as maybe part of a collection of digitals. Eventually, I would like to get my digitals done. I have a bunch I can turn into them. I just haven't done it yet. But I've already asked permission, and I have a picture of my mom and dad when they were married and my grandparents when they were married, and I am going to share it in the community because they are copyright free, because I was given permission that it was okay to use it. Because I think it's cool that they can live on forever in somebody's crafting work. So I got to make copies of them. But it was so cool to see my grandmother and grandfather when they were young, because he was tall. He was like 6'4". He was a tall man, and she came to like his shoulder. Oh, that's so cute. I never heard of that one. Never heard that one, Mel. You care if I show it on my live, Allison? That's so cute. That's a cute picture. I'm waiting for your answer, Missy, so I can show everybody this cute picture that's in my live stream. But if you don't want me to, it's okay. So I'm going to pack up the little box of ephemera, and this is what it came in. This brown, I don't know what type of box this is. I don't ever recall a box this color. I don't think this is a shoe box. It doesn't say anything about shoes on it. It almost looked like wallpaper. I mean, not wallpaper, but paneling. Doesn't that look like paneling? The lid's all bent in. It looks like, no, she wrapped the box. So she decorated it. Cool. That's too funny. So that's the box of ephemera that I had and didn't know what to do with, but I'm glad I kept it because I didn't throw it out. I remember seeing it and thinking, this is before I was even in the junk journaling community. I've had this. And I was like, what am I going to do with this? See, I was meant to be here for a reason in this type of community for a reason. Because I'm finding all this yummy stuff. When I get the chance, I will bring out some of those books. But this is what blew me away with these patterns. These patterns are so cute. This one here says A Better Living Original. That's the only one that says it, though. The rest of these say Talon in New York. I think I Googled Talon and I couldn't get a lot of information about it. So there's some yummy ephemera. Me too. I do too, Loopy. And then my fun book. Oh, I love this. I did not do an unboxing of this. I did get this on eBay, though. I got a couple of yummy books. Harper's Magazines. I did not realize they had these for years and years and years. That you could actually do a collection. But this here was one of the I found. I have another one. I haven't unboxed yet. But this one here is from December of 1883 to May of 1884. I was trying to get the whole collection. I kept looking for January, but I can't seem to find January. January is the only one I come across, was way out of my pay range. It was a lot of money. So maybe because it's the first of the year, but look at this. Nice. You can look around and get great deals on these books. You just got to know where to look. A lot of time people don't realize, they'll type in, say, for instance, I'll give you an example. They'll type in the Edwardian book by, we know that's famous, by Edith Holden. Well, Google, what people don't realize, they're going to show you the most expensive ones first. Most of the time when you Google, people buy spaces. Like, there's a bunch of companies. It didn't start out that way. It almost started out like alphabetical order on the web. But then people, money, it's all about capitalism. They decided to create companies that if they paid for a top space, that's what you see first. So just because it might say, the first 3 books you see of The Country Edwardian by Edith Holden, they could say, for instance, I'm just giving an example off the top of my head. It could say like $90, $70, whatever. That does not mean they're not cheaper. You just got to sometimes go into links of stores to find them, but you got to know the store names. I will sit in a live sale and I watch auctions, and I've been doing this since the beginning. And I have seen people make a killing off of books that you can get so much cheaper if you know where to look. And there's Abe's books, there's Alibi, there's Thrift. There's so many names out there. And I kept hearing somebody repeatedly say that you couldn't get certain books under certain prices, and that's not the truth. You just got to know where to look. Sometimes it doesn't come up in a Google search. Sometimes, like, if I go into Abe's books and I type in the title and the author, it gives you a list underneath, whether they're used or newer. And sometimes I've seen books literally sold in auctions on here for 50s and 100s, and you can get it for $3 and something. But I understand that there's some people that just trust the people they buy from and they want to support them because they like their channel. And that's all fine and dandy if you've got that kind of money. I'm a thrift shopper. That's the difference. If you've got money to throw around and you want to do that, that's up to you. But I'm a thrift shopper and I always research my stuff. And sometimes too, even on eBay, just because a book is up for sale at a certain price doesn't mean that's what it'll sell for. And that's where I think it's a killer, because I've been in a couple places that their prices are so outrageous. Love the channel, but they live in a higher impacted state. And that's another thing that I think of when I go into sales, is where the person's from, because I love this one channel. I do. And I have probably spent way over what I should have for a couple items, but I support them because I like them. They're in California, and I know the prices in California is way different than here. Like, for instance, we had this talk in a live stream not too long ago. I literally choked on my tea. I was drinking tea because when me and my husband got this house as a first-time home buyers, we live in one of the most poorest states, being in West Virginia. I'm just saying it because it's the facts. And it kills me when I see, I don't know if some people are born in states and they think all the states are the same, but they're not. We get a first-time home buyers because most of the time, if you hit the realtor here and you want to buy a home, they want you to have like 10 or 20% down of a payment. But if you go in for first-time home buyers, that's waived. They have a company that comes in, and you might only have to have $1,000 or something like that just to get started. And that's on an expensive home. That's not a lot of money for a first-time home buyers. So I was telling this couple, you need to check it to first-time home buyers. Well, they did. In California, what we only had to pay $1,500 for our home to get started and where I'm at right now. Their first-time home buyers in California is $1.2 million. Like, I literally choked on my tea. So, so when you factor that in, if a seller's on here making a living, your prices are going to be a lot higher. To me, being in a poorer state, I'm sitting over here like, say what? I can't afford that auction price because they literally have auctions. They do these auctions because they're in a business, because there's a whole bunch of them on here. You find storage locker people. So what it is like a lot of times you'll sit in a sale and you'll think that person's charging a lot of money. But then if you look at people who live in California and what they have to pay, that's like cheap to them. That's so outrageous to me because of being a thrifty shopper. And, I could go in my area. They still have yard sales here where they sell stuff for a quarter. And I've even heard, like, this one lady said to me one time, and because we have community yard sales once a year, she said, this lady's crazy. She's selling all these new cooking magazines and she's selling them for $1 a piece. This is what I deal with. And she's going, I just think $1 is outrageous. I said, ma'am, not to be mean, but have you priced magazines lately? Have you looked at real prices? Seriously, softbacks are what hardbacks used to be. I said, it's called inflation. And I said, if you go out and you buy one right off the rack at like Walmart, her $1 is nothing. If she's buying it for herself and looking, $1 for a magazine is very cheap. Because I know sometimes here they can be $6 and something. You know what I mean? That's $1 is nothing. So I said, if you think you're going to find, some people still selling at like 10 and 25 cents, it's not going to happen anymore. Because inflation goes up and it's about to go up again. But when you look at California people, to them, it doesn't seem like a lot because of their cost of living. So like, for instance, I was in a comparison. I was in one live sale at a cheaper state on here, and they were selling cookbooks for like $3. I went into one of their auctions out in California. They're selling it for like $15. And I'm like, there's no way I could pay that when I'm used to the style of paying here. But at the same time, when you look at the cost of living out there, that's why their prices are higher. Because I'm doing this as a hobby. That's actually their living. Her husband, literally, that is his living. He buys storage lockers and he auctions them off on YouTube. And they have to make the money back. And you go through the whole process with them. You see how much they pay for the storage locker. You see how much the cleanup they have to do to empty it. And it is a lot of hard work. And then they lot it out and then they auction it. And most of the time when they do auction, shipping is included. So definitely going to start off higher. They might start everything off like at $25. And whatever the value is, it is. And I've seen these people make really good money. And there are eBay buyers in these particular auction sales. So looking at businesses, just sitting back and studying it, it's amazing what I see in every different auction that I'm in or every different sale I'm in. So like some people think one person on here is too pricey, but they haven't seen some of the pricey things I've seen. That person's actually selling cheaper than what they think. Because it depends on where you live. And to me, I live in a poorer state. So, it is what it is. I'm very cautious when I'm in the most expensive ones because a lot of times they will outbid me because there's no way I could sit here and just boom through one lot of something that fits on my mat for $200. I don't have that kind of money to throw away. So I do know my limit of expenditure. Contrary to all the unboxings I've done, I do have a budget. But it's just knowing where they're at and what they do. So when people complain and talk about prices to me, I go, you don't understand though. You have to watch all the dynamics of every sale you go into because everybody's from different places. Hey, Krista. Yep, it is. It really is loopy. I remember even back in the AOL dial-up disc days, I had met a guy who lived in California, and him and his wife got divorced. It was terrible because this was like back in before the beginning of, I think, 2001. He was working 2 jobs, full-time as a paid firefighter, plus he had a part-time job because he was trying to pay his wife alimony for their kid, child support for their kids that they were divorced. He was trying to make it in an apartment out there, and he was literally traveled 2 states when people come here. But I just find it interesting, you know what I mean? Before I just to me, I'm just like, before you can actually complain about the prices of what someone has, you really need to take in the whole picture. You can't just go in and say, oh my God, I'll never shop at this person's place because they're so expensive. You have to take in the reasons why. Is this person making a living? Is it a hobby? Where do they live? What's the cost of living like there? That's what I take into consideration before I complain about something. I try to see the full picture. Thank you. This is a Harper's Magazine. But I will sit over here being a thrifty shopper, and if I see a book that I like on someone's channel, and of course, when people are auctioning, you only have one book, of course they're going to fight over it if everybody wants it. But I'll look in the thrift places before I literally enter an auction on here, because I really don't like to compete. I'm not a competitor type person. I really hate auctions. I'd rather have a flat price on items. But I've participated in some, because sometimes when you Google some of these books, you can't find them. So there's that too. You have, sometimes you can find a reasonable, sometimes the auction's actually selling them cheaper than what you can get them online. You just got to do your research. So that's what I pretty much tend to do. If I get quiet in the middle of a live stream and there's something I see, I tilt my phone sideways to see the author and who it's by, or I'll ask the person selling and I look it up myself first. Because you can't have everything. As much as you want to, you cannot buy everything. It's just impossible. If I wanted to buy every single book I saw, oh my goodness, it'd be awful. I've entered some auctions online. They have Everything But the House is a real good site. The only thing I don't like about that auction is they don't mail media. So whenever you win books on there, you're paying a lot in shipping. Alrighty, Loopy. Well, thanks for stopping. But I did get some really good books from Everything But the House. It's called EBTH. I'm signed up with that. And then hey Penny. And then when Curiosity Inc. is one of my favorite channels I like to watch on here, because he goes into hoarder homes, it's really interesting. They've actually been approached by TV wanting to make this channel go to TV, and I hope they never do it, because it's all about money while they're doing it. And they're not. They do live streams, him and his wife, and they talk to people. He owns an antique shop up in Edmonton, Canada, I think. But he picks the type of hoarder houses. There's a dirty hoarding. This is what I love. His channel is so educational, not so much as they teach you the types of hoarding, but also how to organize, how to clean up a hoarder. And it's really cool because I don't know if any of you watch Curiosity Incorporated, but it's a wonderful channel. And he did an auction, and I went into it. I actually signed up for the Canadian auction house, and I tried so hard to get this set of British Encyclopedia set that they had, but what I love how they do it is he goes in, he was offered to clean up this house. This is what was cool on this last one. I think the amount was $10,000. So he goes in and he cleans up this house, but he saw a piano, he saw something else. Everybody told him, "Oh, you're crazy spending that kind of money for that house." And everybody blew him away. All their subscribers blew them away because they're all over the United States, Canada, different countries. We were all in there bidding on the stuff. They did a jewelry auction and then they did a house auction. There's another auction coming up. But what he does, his style is he goes like, I'll say, "Oh yeah, this kitchen's nasty. It's got a nasty can of beans," or whatever. He said, but he did not realize what this woman had hoarded. They literally made so much money off of this house. It was unbelievable. Everybody blew them away because he owns an antique shop and he wanted to put a coffee shop beside it. And he's definitely going to be able to afford it after this sale. That's how much money they made. And he comes on and talks to us about it. He'll say, "We pulled in," then they have to pay a percent in taxes. Of course, they have to pay the auction house, but it was over $200,000 just on the first sale and climbing. And there still were 2 more sales after. That's how much money they made off of this house. But he said, he took us into this one hoarder house and he says, "Now this is a filthy hoarder. It had mice. It had rotten meat in the freezers. It was gross." He says, "I'm not touching this." He says, "This house just needs burnt down." So he knows what a hoarder difference is. The one he made all the money off of, it was not filthy. I think one place in the basement they had saw rat poop, but the rest of it wasn't filth. This woman literally had packed clothing and packed items everywhere. There was jewelry. There was money in different places in the house, but she was a neater hoarder. It was more things than dirt, if that makes any sense, because there is different types of hoarding. And it was amazing because there was a guy that was into vintage clothes. So he paid $10,000 and he breaks it all down for you and he talks to everybody about what they're doing. He said, "I paid $10,000 to do this." He sold off all the clothing because he don't want to deal with clothing. So he sold all the vintage clothing. She had furs. You wouldn't believe it. If you ever get the chance, go watch it because he does it in steps and videos. And you get to see what they see from the beginning to when they clean the house. But what I love about the twist of his channel is when he's done, he introduces us to the people who live there in their life. And it really is a story. And I don't want to tell you all what the story was with this woman that did this particular one that they just auctioned off because I don't want to blow the surprises. But it's amazing how they open it up. Like he won't tell you not a lot about who owned the house. And at the very end, he showed us pictures of what the house looked like, what kind of a person she was, and all this kind of stuff. And you get a story out of the hoarding and why she did it. And it just gives you chills. I mean, it's just, they have one of the best channels on YouTube, the way he does stuff. And then another one they did was a pottery. She was a lady that made pottery, and they call it the Potter's House. In each episode to do part 1, part 2, so you get to go along the whole destination. But he made the money back, the $10,000 back, just in selling the clothes. He sold all the clothes to this one guy that owns like 3 Etsy stores. And that person, he shares channels. He tells you who they are and everything. It's really cool. But I tried so hard to get one item in the auction, and then people flocked that auction. Here, I'll get you their link. But they're amazing to listen to. Him and his wife. His name's Alex and her name's Melissa. And you feel so personable when you watch their channel because he goes every step of the way. And they even have friends that help them. And I watched them explode. I can't remember what numbers they were at when I first started watching them. I believe they were under 100K because I saw them get their play button. They grew so fast. They're almost at 4K. They're at 380,000 or something like that. Their channel grew fast. But I remember when he got the play button because he was so excited and he showed it to everybody. And he's just a hard worker. This is their channel. And it paid off, you know, because he's definitely a hard worker. But so I have them up on my page too. I did them once as my Wednesday YouTube personality appreciation because I really like their channel. I can't say enough about their channel. I really can't. But yeah, the pictures in this are really cool. I love this. I love these type of books. Could I rip a book like this apart? Probably not. But this looks like it would be fun to read. Scan, maybe. But this is definitely a hoarder book for me. It's one thing if it was like ripped away from it. You know, like this book is really in good shape for being from the 1800s. It's got scuffing on it, but the book part's not falling apart. The spine or nothing. So I will not take this book apart. This to me is a part of history. Penny, me too. My obsession's so bad. I have 4 rooms full that I'm trying to get rid of, but it's not books like these, though. I have customers that dump books outside my door because of owning a used bookstore, and I've had to turn them away because I have too many. It's gotten out of hand. So when you see my videos, these are books that I'm selling and getting rid of. And what I don't sell, I'm donating. And if they fall apart, I will take them to a recycling place too, because we do go to a recycling place. I have a garage that I store all my recycling in. And once we get a vehicle full, we take it over. But we had a leak in my back garage. My store right now is a disaster. So right now I'm just doing it online, and what doesn't sell is going out because my crafting room is half my bookstore. I'm trying to convert. And it is a mess. Trying to put stuff in a store when you don't have room to begin with, but I'm trying to. I cleaned off 1 bookshelf so far and got rid of those books because I give it a month. Every video you see, I start February 1st. I'm in romance this month. So the whole month of February, because it's Valentine's Day, I'm going to be getting rid of romance sections. And once those shelves are filled off, then my crafting supplies goes into those shelves. So that's how I'm doing it. Plus I have boxes I haven't even went through yet. The people were dumping them off, and I said, listen, I've had to turn them away. I can't take no more of the reading type. I said, unless you have books from the 1800s, 1900s, this type of books, then those I'll take because I could share them in my live sales. But I don't need any more Harlequin romances and reading type books because I have way too many. And my store has been closed because of COVID. I haven't opened it. Everything I've been doing is people get a hold of me if they see a video, because a lot of the times I do like 10 books or $10 if they're softbacks, or $1 a piece, because I don't want people obligated to feel that they have to buy the whole set if they don't want to. I changed that because there was some books I was doing like 20 cents, 25 cents a piece. So I would do them as for me to put it on my Etsy, I can't post a 20 cent, 25 cent book for me to make any money. So I started doing like 20 cent books. You buy like, what's 5 for $1 or whatever. But when you go into my Etsy, you pick up everything. So the whole month, if there's like a list you want to make, which I did have a local woman that did that, she watched my videos and she made a list and sent it to me. And what didn't sell, I put in a big box for her and she came and picked it up. So I can do it like that too, you know, but it all goes into an Etsy link and then people pick it up from Etsy because I don't have a website link. It's actually cheaper for me to do it through Etsy because I used to have a web link, but I got rid of it. It got to be too expensive. So that way, if anybody has any books they're interested in for like the whole month, if you're into romance, watch the whole month, make a list. If you're interested, then you can buy and buy the bundle if you want to and still get a deal. But I didn't want people to make them have to buy the whole bundle. So I just started doing paperbacks for $1 because by the time I pay the 20 cents to upload it to Etsy and by the time they take out whatever they make, I'm only making change. I'm not actually making the $1. But it is what it is. I'm just trying to downsize. These were books I was saving from the landfill. And I got a hold of a couple of the thrift stores that I donate to if they don't sell. And they do recycle if they don't sell, which I just don't want them to land in a landfill. I told the thrift places, I said, I could do that myself. You know, I said, I'm not going to take and bring them here if you don't take them to a landfill. I mean, if you don't take them to be recycled. Because if they don't sell in my store, I could make money myself having them recycled. Because the place that we take our recycling stuff to pays you to recycle. It's not a lot of money, but it's some. So I told the thrift stores I would rather see it raise money if they can sell them, you know, to feed people than to recycle them if they're not falling apart. But I said, if you're going to throw them to a landfill, I'm not going to bring them here. I just want to make sure that they're actually recycling them because my whole point of my store was to keep it out of the landfills. There's no excuse to throw away entire books when we have a recycling place that will take them. And you don't have to get paid. They ask you when you take them recycled, they'll say, do you want money in return or do you just dropping stuff off? It's up to the individual. We only took the money because last time we went over, they paid us $4. But to me, that was gas money for taking it there. It's not like we got rich. But I'll recycle for gas money to take a load to them because they're not that far from my house. Because I think you've got to have like a ton before you make a bunch of money. I think it's like $75 a ton and I don't own a truck. So whatever they get out of the back end of my vehicle is what they get. But yeah, I love these type of books. I could flip through these type of books all night. I don't think I have my other box down here. The one because I have another book just like this, but I think this one's 18, what'd I say? The other one's earlier. This one's 1883 to 1884. The other one is a Harper's Monthly, but it's 1860 something. So that's the only two I have, is this one and that one so far. I've been collecting little by little certain favorite books. And I did, as a junk journalist, I went to Everything But the House. And there was a set of books, and I really liked the cover, and I was going to turn it into a journal. And I've talked about this book. I will show it eventually. I would like to eventually do a live and show some of my favorites in my collection. When I got the book, everything changed because it's beautiful. It's a blue book. It has a rose inlay. It's absolutely gorgeous, but there was nothing wrong with it. And when I started reading, it's a poetry book and I can't do it. I couldn't do it. I intentionally was buying it to gut it and I can't. I just can't. There's some books you just can't. So it ended up beside my bed and I was reading it. And I still have it, and it's going to go on my bookshelf. I have one big bookshelf down here that I'm going to turn into all of the books that I'm keeping. And then my journals that I actually write in, I'll be doing a video of those soon. I'm trying to do the flip through. I wasn't finished. I had to wait for my ink to come in for Insta Ink because I used up my papers on some digital projects. But usually the first or second weekend of January, I try to do all the year before journals I have used to show how I utilize my junk journals. And I haven't done that yet. I did one last year. And if I can remember who I bought them from, I try to tell people who made them too. I really am bad about that. I feel that you really should give people credit when you show digital kits or something like that. So what I need to start doing is taking note cards and keeping them up by my other computers. So when I download digitals, to make sure I write the names on them, because I do think it's really nice to give credit so that people can go look for the items if they like them, or check out the Etsy stores, because to me, Etsy doesn't get enough advertising than they should. So that's why it's nice. Some of the YouTubers are showing stuff they're getting out of stores so that people know where to find them. I think it's great to share Etsy stores. So that's something I'm hoping I'll get better at this year. Because sometimes I'll get a journal and I'll be like, I'll remember. And I don't remember where I got it. Because I did that. I kept the receipt on a video that's coming up that I have already done. I just got to post it, of something that I just did. And I did keep the receipt on where it came from. I start sticking them inside the journals. That way I will know where they came from. Yes, I love these types of books, especially when you can feel the indentation of the letters. These books are awesome. So instead of crafting tonight, I wanted to do this instead. I wanted to go through that little box and then show some of the really cool books that you can find. And I do believe, let me check the receipt to make sure. I found this at a really decent price. Is it going to tell me? That's funny. This came from Wisconsin. The receipt just tells you, I'm pretty sure this came from Abe's Books, because it's kind of like Abe's sometimes at the thriftier book places, it's still a bunch of different stores inside that sells, kind of like how Amazon has a bunch of different people that sells inside of it. Abe's does too. The bookstore this came from was downtownbooksonline.com, but it was through Abe's Books that I found it. That's where I believe this came from. And I got a really good price for this. Because sometimes you'll see, like, it'll give you a book and it'll say $100, blah. And then you look down below and it'll say used and like newer and used or whatever, and they're cheaper. Just because that top book says a lot more doesn't mean you got to pay that price. So you can go look, and sometimes they have pictures and sometimes they don't, but I definitely did not pay $100 for this. And see, there's some pages that's messed up right there. That's the first flaw I seen in it, but I don't care. It could have some ripness, making it here from the 1800s. I think the plates and stuff are gorgeous in this book. It definitely took a little beating through time travel, but not as bad as what I've seen other books. I've seen some that were pretty bad and some that weren't. I have this one book here I think I put it upstairs. I might have took it upstairs and cleaned it up. It was like covered with so much dirt. I have no clue. There was a lady that called here and she dropped off some books outside my door, and I never found out who she was. I went back through the numbers and I could not find her because some of the books I did have in my live sale when I got rid of them, but she made my live sale, literally. I was sitting here with sweat and palms because my sale was coming up, and I'm like, I told my husband, I said, sometimes our antique mall doesn't have a lot of stuff. So I'm like, I have no clue what I'm going to put in this sale. I said, it's coming up, and I'm like lacking some items. And this lady dropped off a box of books, and it was amazing. These books were awesome, but they were so dirty. I have no clue where she picked these from because, you know, some of them are out in barns and you know, really dirty attics, and you know, you just never know where they're going to pick some of this stuff from. And I remember when I picked up this one book, I picked one book out of it to keep out of the whole pile she sent me. And it was like scared the crap out of me because this big ugly spider come running out of the spine across the page. And I threw the book on the floor and I was like, oh my God, because it scared the crap out of me. Because I'm sitting like in a little cubicle behind the desk here. It's not like I didn't have a way to run away from this ugly looking spider. So I threw it down on the floor, but it was so dirty. This book was filthy. So I took and I smashed the spider in it on the page, praying that the guts weren't there. That's just so gross when that happens. But I did get to clean it up, and I cleaned the page off and stuff, so it was okay. And the book never broke, thank goodness. But it's an old one. It's a really old book. And I'm thinking, man, she got this out of a nasty place. But sometimes when, you know, I'm starting to get to know the vendors in my antique mall, and I've left a few of them messages. So now they're starting to find me, you know, to where if I see something, because to me, a lot of the selling that you do for antiques and vintage is who you know. It's who you get to know. And like right now, right in our antique mall where I went last time for my last sale, I had bought 2 of those 1800 antique photo albums. They got the cabinet cards in them. The first time I went in, I bought them because I knew they were worth it. I mean, I literally sucked in my breath when I saw them because I have never seen those at our antique mall. It was right before Christmas. I was like, oh, yes, because I see they're very popular and people like them, and I already have one. So I thought, you know, those would be nice to put in a sale to share, because I know some people have been wanting them, but they don't have them in their area or their country. So I paid $50 for each of them. And I did talk to another seller, a couple other actually, that told me they can't find them that cheap. They can't find sometimes because I got from a picker. You know, when you're purchasing from a picker, you're going to pay higher than if you're out picking yourself, if that makes any sense. I feel like, you know, sometimes the picker might have to pay if they're going into a state and they're in an auction. They pay high prices sometimes too, but I shop from pickers who've already picked. I'm not the one in the attics and stuff like that because very rarely do we have estate sales here. So finding them for $50 a piece to me was a treasure, and I took a chance and I said, I'm going to buy these. I was with my daughter and I said, I'm taking these home because I've never seen these sell this cheap in any of the sales I've been online. So to me, it's not about the money. You know, like I had one person pay 70 for one, another person paid 5 more for the other. I just want people to enjoy the 1800s because I never thought I would ever afford a book from that time period, because every time I searched books like that, they were always way out of my league. Well, since we've many antique dealers on here selling, you're getting some better prices from some people. The second time I went over, because both of those sold, and to me, that's, you know, me getting out of the house, me using my gas to get to the antique mall. I made a $25 profit off of both of those books. I'm okay with that. because it's fine. Even if a person would have, gave me back the $50 or $51 or whatever. Every time I see somebody start an auction and they put started $1, I always go above that dollar. I never start at $1 because I think that's what they're starting at. So why not go a little higher? You know what I mean? But the $5 to me was still worth it because, to me, it's just letting people enjoy some of the things I've enjoyed. So it's really not about the money part. So I went back the second time, and there's a new vendor in the mall. That's why I'm finding these particular books. She had 2 more, but I didn't buy them this time. They were the same price. They were $50 each, but I really studied them. They had some cabinet cards in them. And I mean, there might be somebody that would buy them, but to me, I look at it and think, would I pay $50 for this? Both of the clasps did not work. They had some cabinet cards in them, but like they were not worth it to me because when you open them up, the slots where the cabinet cards went into, there was no design. Like some of them don't care if the locks are busted or whatever, if they have like the fancy, like art stuff in them, but these 2 had nothing in them. They were plain. And I'm like, no, the first 2 were way better. That's why I picked them up. And the clasps were in really good condition for as old as they were. So I didn't get the last 2. And, me and my husband looked at him. I looked at him a couple times. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it because it's not worth it. I mean, to me, the shape and the condition they were in, I didn't even think they were worth 25, let alone 50. So when I bring something home, I want to make sure it has some good quality to it too. I kind of look at it through my eyes. Would I pay for this if I was in a sale? Would I want this? And I didn't like either one of them. The cover of the one was probably my favorite part of both of them. It had a little girl on the front of the one, but it was so ruined around the outside of it that to me, it just like the whole outline of it, I just didn't like it. So I didn't buy them. I mean, if somebody's interested in something like that, and if you would want to see pictures to make your own call, if you were interested in something like that, then you could let me know through Facebook Messenger or something, but I just didn't feel they were worth it. But the first 2, were absolutely stunning. They were definitely, there was no way I was leaving the mall without them. It's just, I go with my gut when I go to buy from the antique mall. They do have a lot of older books over there, but the bad thing is there's no pictures. Like there was no illustrations. So I don't pick up books without illustrations in them because I think a lot of people that buy like the pictures. And then we have one booth over there that sells cabinet cards, and they're totally outrageous. She's got like $10 a piece on them, and I'll pass. And then each vendor has different prices on their items that I think is interesting because they don't all price their stuff the same. And then yearbooks, I went into one place. It's really interesting when you shop around. It's because sometimes you can find them at a decent deal for like maybe like $10. And this other place, they wanted like 25 to 30. I'm like, I'm not paying that for a yearbook. Especially when they're only from like the 40s and 50s. They're not even out of copyright. So, I'm really picky when I shop. But this book here, I love it. So I have my first 2 Harpers, and I'm pretty happy with these. Especially when this one here, it showed the cover and I think a couple pages in it, but that's all it showed. And everything but the house is like that too. You don't necessarily get a tour of everything that's in it. What everything but the house does is you see pictures, like it'll show you the front, the back, it'll show you the spine and the very beginning where the dates are, but you don't get a flip through, any flip through. So you just kind of guess, and sometimes it'll say in the description like 82 illustrated pictures. Sometimes they will list if it's got illustrations in them or not. So it's kind of risky when you're shopping on there. But I was impressed with some items I got off of there, but they're high. Like you type in your zip code and automatically it says, because it's going to be shipped, you're starting out at $32 and you haven't even started the auction yet because they don't do media. So it's almost like they already have an amount they want from the books anyways. It's out of Wisconsin, I believe. Or no, it's out of Missouri is where Everything But the House is. But you got to register and they have everything on there. Heck, I even seen them with a picture of a real pink Cadillac. They sell cars. They sell jewelry. They sell books. They sell bags of stamps. Everything we love as buyers, they have on there. It's just that some of their prices are really pricey. But it's okay because you get to go in and look around. Sometimes you get a deal if nobody else wants what you're looking for. I got 2 books of vintage postcards out of there, and they are really nice. But the thing is when they had them all at once, and there was like 2 more other ones I wanted to bid on really bad, but I couldn't because I was already after these other 2, and I could kick myself because the one had German pictures of horses. It was postcards of German horses, and it was like, oh, my love of horses, but I couldn't get it because I already had my bid on this other item. And once you bid, you can't take it back. So I just went for it, and I did get some really good postcards that are out of date. That if I wanted to scan, I can. But then other times, I just give up. Like I have a limit, and the last 10 minutes, you're like hoping nobody will come in and ninja, but they do. And you're watching it on the computer. It's better to do it on a computer than your phone. You're watching that last 10 minutes tick, and you're like holding your breath that nobody comes in at the very last minute and takes your stuff away from you. And then there's like a limit, like I have a limit of what I'll put, and I'll have it on a piece of paper beside me on what I think something's valuable, but I will not go past that limit. So a couple times I had to give up and be like, oh, I'll just let them have it. But it's fun because I try not to get worked up. I have anxiety anyway, so I don't like to get too worked up at auctions. And then the one that Curiosity Incorporated does, you sign up for the Kastner's auction, and then you can do a CAD where you can put your total amount in first. And then once the auction happens, it'll keep going. And then once you're at your limit, you're done. If somebody goes past you, then they automatically get it. But auctions are interesting online too. They really are. They can be fun. I remember when I first started, buying at auctions on here for sales, I would be more tense, not about winning the auctions, but freaking YouTube lag used to stress me out. And then one day I thought, Tammy, just breathe. This is why I don't get upset or like stressed at auctions anymore. Because I thought, if it's meant to be at your house, it's going to be, you can't have everything. And if you don't get it, it's just money that you save for something else that's going to come your way that you will get. And that's how I look when I'm at auctions on here, because I just don't want to be stressed out over them. And I feel like it's more manageable. So I don't get stressed out anymore. I'm like, let it go if it gets too high. And if I can't get it, I just can't get it. The only thing that I do notice is in the sales that I've been going to since StreamYard, If a person refreshes before they read the order, it's actually the same order that you read in StreamYard. If a person doesn't refresh, it's all over the place. Those type of sales I can't do. If I'm in it, I just don't buy nothing, because I have a little book beside me that I keep track of everything I get to know where my spending level is. I have a notepad on my phone that I do it in too. And like Maddie's sale's coming up. So this is what I did in her last sale. And I'm going to do it again in this one. I have a section on a notepad and I'll put day 1. And as she's showing items and I hear my name called that I got the item, I write in what it is and the amount. I had day 1, day 2, and day 3. And that way I could total everything and know exactly what I had going out. And it makes it so much easier to do a sale, because sometimes as a seller, and I've done it too, you know, you don't see somebody who's getting something, or you miss an item, you know, and it does happen. You know, we're human. We do make mistakes. So I've had to go back into my lives before, and I've had to see it, because Sweetheart, it happened to her a couple times. She came in late because of a delay and I never saw her. So I had to go back when I was selling cars, like, oh my God, I said, you know, I watched it a second time. I didn't even see this. Especially when you don't have a moderator helping you and you're doing it by yourself. Sometimes you do miss people. So I had to contact her and say, hey, I did see your card. I seen where you wanted it and I added it. So she would know she got it. And then I write out an itemized list by hand, so that, you know, this is how I am as a seller, so that I know, you know, they know what's in their package. Then when I go to the post office, tracking is automatically on the receipts. I save all the tracking numbers so that, you know, especially with all this stuff going on with the delay of the mail, but I've had issues with mail even before COVID. I sit and wait until everybody gets their packages, and I keep them in a receipt book for when I do my taxes anyways. And when I go to shred these, it's going to be probably 5 years old. I keep all my receipts for 5 years, and then they hit my shredding machine. Because my grandmother taught me when I was a little girl, paper trail is your proof. And her and my grandfather back in the day, of course, before, you know, the computer and the web and everything, and emails and all that, she said one time her and my grandfather had this receipt that they paid and she had kept it. And she said, thank goodness, it was 10 years old, 10 years. And the business came back saying they didn't pay it. And she had the proof because she had everything in a box. She kept shoe boxes and she put dividers in for the years. And she went right to that shoe box and pulled it out and proved she paid it. And me and my husband, one time with an attorney, that happened. We had an attorney doing some stuff for us, and they were trying to say that we did not, because my husband never asked them for a receipt. We had a receipt because it was paid by check, but they didn't know that, they didn't have it on record. And they were trying to say that we owed $1,000 more than what we did. And we pulled out the receipt and showed them by the checking, this is the proof that we paid this. And then they took it off. But sometimes it still happens. So I don't do 10 years, but I do 5. You know, I keep everything for 5, even my emails. I'll leave them sit there in my emails and just leave them sit there stored, and then I get rid of them. But sometimes you don't think and you hit the garbage. And I lost the receipt here not too long ago that was in my email that I wish I had. But I did. I think I deleted it by accident. But I do try to keep it 5 years, because I ask everybody, even though my Etsy store doesn't say that I will pay 100%, that's just my laziness. I didn't finish my store, you know, all the details. But if, say, somebody got something and they lost the package, I am not going to leave you stuck. I will 100% reimburse someone that this has happened to, because I have seen a while ago, I can't remember who it was. Somebody bought off of a live sale and it was sent in I think a priority, one of the envelope type things. And somehow by the time the mail got to her, she just got the envelope. All the contents were gone. Can you imagine how sick you would be? Especially when one of the books in it was a vintage one. And she was like, what am I supposed to do with this? When the post office even brought it to her. So she took a picture of it and she sent it to the person, and then they made arrangements to deal with it. And I feel that that's the best way to do it, is to reimburse the person 100%, or maybe find another book that they would like, and however they want to handle it. But I feel like you should be responsible. I have never dealt with lost mail that I was never reimbursed from a business. That's a true business person. So that's why I always keep my receipts that way. If people come back and they need a tracking or whatever. And recently this happened to me with a seller. I had bought a priority box off of her channel, because she packs these boxes and sells them. And what she does is she shows you the content, and then she gives you a number, and then the first person to put the number in the chat room, that's the box you get. Well, what happened was she took 3 boxes down to the post office, and she forgot to put the names on and thought she had them in order, or she knew who the boxes were. 3 boxes went to the wrong people. And I was one of those people. Well, it was a month late getting here, first off. So I got the tracking number off of her, and this worked out very well. I took the tracking number, I plugged it in, and it still said it was stuck in Michigan. For a month, this box was stuck there. It didn't move. It kept saying in transit to the next facility, but it never left. So I called to file a claim through my post office, and I had to give them the number. The tracking number is so important. That's why I don't understand why people would throw something like that away. So they said they would figure out what's going on. Well, it ended up, all of our mail that comes here goes to one particular place, and I know where it goes, but for some reason it was clear somewhere else. So by the time it got here, the post office lady said the only mistake she could see that was wrong, she said the addresses and everything were right, because I bought off of this person before. She said there was some kind of line in the tracking number, like there was a mark, and they had to literally type it in. You couldn't scan it. It wouldn't scan. So she said, I don't know if they didn't, try to scan it and it didn't work, and that's why it was stuck. They don't really know, but I did get it, and it ended up being the wrong contents. So I contacted the person I bought it off of, because money is money, $30, $50, it's all valuable to you as a buyer, period. So you should never have to lose your money. And one thing I love about PayPal versus some other things is it protects the merchant and the buyer. If you buy through PayPal, it might not be as encrypted as some people think, but there's other services out there that don't do this. I got a message here not too long ago asking if I got a particular package from this merchant. It said, it was from PayPal. It said, we want to know if you got this particular package, hit yes or no. And I had to confirm it, because they protect the seller and the buyer. If something doesn't get to me, I can file a dispute through PayPal, and it forces the company to reimburse you. And that to me is good business. When you're a seller, to have a plan for, with your buyers, you have to have that agreement to reimburse if something happens, because it's not their fault. The mail got lost and they're out of money. So we worked it out. So what she did was, the other 2 people never contacted her about the wrong boxes. She says, I don't know who they were, because she deleted the lives. I said, why didn't you set them private? I mean, me personally, these type of situations can be remedied. I would set it if you don't want your, people to know who buys off of you or whatever, for some reason. I don't know. I never privated my videos, but that's her choice. It's her channel. I would private them so that you know who got what in case this mess up happens again and you can fix it. And not only that, but say you are, my daughter even come up with this idea. She said, say you are taking your boxes to the post office and you're sending them out. Why didn't she initial them? Why would you just guess whose box was whose? She says, what I would do is right where the label goes, I would put their initials or their first and last name because you're going to cover it with a shipping label anyways. So that was another tip I gave her to try to help her out as a seller. I'm like, these are just, I'm not telling you what to do because you're going to do what you want to do. It's your channel, but these are just ideas that I would use and tips I take off of other sellers of stuff like this happens. So she said, that's actually a good idea. So now I'm stuck with a box that I don't want the items. So she found another box filled with almost similar what I lost. She sent it to me for free and never charged me for shipping because it was the same price. So I'm going to send this box back to her because I don't need the stuff that's in it. So I told her, and hopefully the person will come forth that actually bought my box. But I don't have the priority size that she sent me that this will fit in. My post office doesn't carry this particular size box. It's almost like we have like the large flat and like the long ones, but this one here is like a game board box. I mean, it's like super long. And my husband took the measurements down and our post office doesn't carry it. So I said, we're going to have to go through my bookstore and find a box this will fit in, and I'm going to mail it back to her. But that to me is a good business. That's a person I want to buy off of. Not somebody who is going to say, well, I don't reimburse lost packages and this. And I don't like people that do that because to me, that's bad business. Because I've been on both ends of the spectrum. I've been a business owner and I've been a customer. So it goes both ways. You got to have a good plan. And like my Etsy money, I never spend it. I leave it sit there in case something happens so that I can reimburse. I always have extra money in my Etsy in case something like that happens. I'm a planner. I can't help it. I plan for everything. And I even had Etsy one time make a boo-boo on a sale that I did. And they cost me. I said, I was after them. They cost me the $35 charge that you get for overdrafting your account because what happened, there was a guy in Canada that bought a set of books off of me and the shipping was $80. Well, I didn't have a lot of money in my account. I had just enough to cover, which you should never do that. Always have at least $200 sitting in your Etsy just in case this happens. So what happened was I went to hit the button for the shipping label. It didn't go through. And I'm sitting there waiting and waiting for it to, pop out of my printer and it wouldn't come. So I waited and I hit it again thinking maybe it didn't take. Well, guess what? Etsy charged me double for the same shipment. That's $160. And I was like, what the hell? And it took me $20 over my limit. It took me in the negative. So I contacted them. I print screened everything, contacted them, and I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, this is a double print on the same shipment and you need to fix this. All right, Penny, you have a good one. Sweet dreams. So they finally did. It took a while though, but they were like, you only have so many days to dispute this. I said, no, you're going to reimburse my account because it was your fault. So I found a forum where they talked about that button sticking. So now they've changed it. When you go to do your labels, they do it differently now. because I guess it was becoming a common problem. I said, people can't afford that. So you live and learn, you know. I take each step at a time whenever I do business with people and with online websites that I'm a part of. You got to study everything. But it happens. But you always got to have a plan. But anyways, I think I'm going to call it a night too, since it's been long. My puppy's probably going to go to potty again. I always take her to the bathroom before I come down here. And she's a medium-sized dog, so she usually goes out about every 4 hours to every 6, depending. She usually lets me know, and I haven't heard her running around. I usually hear her tap, tap, tapping upstairs when she's got to go. But when up there with her, she's funny because she'll lick my hand. She's like, I go, you got to go, and then she barks at me. Love my fur baby. She's so stinking cute. So that was fun. We get to go through a mystery box and we get to flip through a really pretty book. And now, hopefully next week, I'll get to share my other book too, because this was fun. If I think of it. But for everybody that come in, thanks for coming in at whatever time zone you're in. I hope you're having a great one. And I will see you all soon. Next Wednesday, same time. Bye.